And tonight we chanted the Noble Eightfold Path. It's always a good recollection of the different factors of the path that we're cultivating if we're following the teachings of the Buddha. In this day and age with so much information and so many teachers and teachings around, it's very easy to stray from the path or lose track of the path, or what they say, people cherry pick the Buddhist path, so they take the bits they like and then take a bit from somewhere else and something else, and some bits they don't like, so they miss them out or put them to one side. But the Buddha emphasized that all aspects of the Noble Eightfold Path have to be cultivated and brought to completion, perfection. That's if we really want to purify this mind from the causes of suffering. Greed, anger, delusion, and the ignorance that's underlying all of that. Craving, attachment. It's not an easy task, and that's why there's so few enlightened beings, awakened beings in the world, but it's not an impossible task, as we know, since the time of the Buddha right through till today. People have been cultivating it, that path. It's not limited by culture or gender or age or social status or all the usual things that people like to separate each other from and separate between people and compare and compete. These qualities are all what we call Dhamma, and Dhamma is impersonal, it's timeless. So it's not like one person can access the Dhamma and another can't, or that the Dhamma is some kind of special, mysterious teaching that only a few special, invited ones can realize and no one else can. The Dhamma is the truth, and that's open to all of us, but the Buddha would say you have to cultivate the right qualities in order to realize the truth and to free your mind from the cause of suffering. Nowadays, many people are interested in Buddhism because the teachings from the starting point of being a human being with some pleasure but also some pain, some stress, some suffering, as a starting point through to a point where all of that is gone. The Buddhist teachings are very precise, or as precise as they can be. Because of the limitations of language and concepts, we can never completely convey everything, like Nibbana or how karma works, or these various parts of the teachings that they call Ajindaya, which are beyond just the ability to explain in normal language. You can get the basic principles, but the actual detailed workings or description is maybe beyond language. But still, the Buddha's explanation of what you have to do to get from this place of stress to the place of no stress and suffering is clear. And for many people it's clearer than any other path described in the world. It's not just based on belief or theoretical knowledge, although that plays a role, particularly as we begin. It's based on practice. Dhamma is not just to be believed in, it's to be practiced, put into practice on a daily basis. Karma is not just to be believed in, it's to be looked at, investigated, and it becomes more apparent. It's what the Buddha would say. If you investigate something, then you start to really know it. And that knowing, that understanding goes beyond just words. Nevertheless, you have to start there. Start with the words, the teachings, and then you draw them in and you compare your own experience and look and learn and observe. And it's important to spend time doing that, especially if you are new to Buddhism, because we bring along so much mental baggage. We have all our cultural conditioning and background and previous beliefs, superstitions, weird ideas, all kinds of stuff we bring in. So we need to listen to the Dhamma, contemplate the Dhamma, to get some kind of structure and framework, how to practice and where we're going and what we're doing. That's important. And particularly to be able to start separating between wholesome Dhammas and unwholesome Dhammas, or kusala Dhamma, akusala Dhamma. And that's a skill, it's not something you just know, although when you're perhaps more familiar with the practice, you do just know many things without having to think about it. But in the beginning you do have to think about it. You have to consider what is wholesome, what is unwholesome. You have to learn the difference, because the wholesome, as we just recited, the wholesome is to be cultivated, the unwholesome is to be abandoned. So you've got to know what you're cultivating and what you're abandoning, otherwise if you get it wrong, then you go in the wrong direction again. And that's perfectly possible when you're practicing Buddhism, because the underlying ignorance, mental defilements that affect us all the time are there, just waiting to trip you up and get you in a mess and confuse you and trick you and do all kinds of things. If the defilements were a person, they'd be your worst enemy. But they're yours. In the sense, they're not really yours, but they're there in your mind, affecting your mind all the time. And most of the time we don't even realize, because we haven't developed enough of this awakened knowledge. We miss them. We take them for granted, we accept them, we follow them, we just don't even question them half the time. That's why we suffer. So we have to start somewhere, and so a huge part of our practice is learning the difference between the wholesome and the unwholesome. What is the path, what is not, what is conducive to awakening and what is not, what's sending us to sleep. I mean, sometimes it's as simple as that, isn't it? If you're meditating and spending an hour nodding off the whole hour, then you need to change posture maybe, or change your object, or do something different. Because you can't get awakened knowledge of the defilements by just being asleep. Some sleepiness is inevitable. It's a hindrance, it'll come up. You have dullness, drowsiness. But if it's all the time, you need to work harder and make some changes. And similarly with other defilements, if you're spending all your time angry, even if you're meditating, but you're just sitting there fuming, raging, complaining, subtle irritations, raging strong emotional states, doesn't matter. If it's all going on, you need to do something about that. You need to recognize that it's defilement, it's the cause of suffering, and find a way to manage and then let go. With these mental defilements, part of the problem is you have some awareness, there must be something wrong here. My mind is thinking a lot, I'm very agitated in an angry way, or I'm falling asleep, or I'm full of some kind of desire or lust. there's a basic recognition the mind is not peaceful, but often we are justifying our state of mind, finding excuses, accepting it, giving into it, indulging it. So a big part of the practice is also learning how to go against the unwholesome in order to establish the wholesome. We say going against the stream or the flow of the mind. It's a huge part of what you might call the forest tradition in Thailand and probably around the world, wherever there are people who meditate. They know about going against the flow, going against the stream, because that's the only way you're going to let go of the unwholesome and cultivate the wholesome, because previously we're following the unwholesome much of the time. So you need to learn how to skillfully go against the stream. That means developing the path. I mean, that's what the path is for, is we're going against the stream. The nature of that stream depends on you, does it? Your karma, your particular personality and attachments and what's going on in your mind, and it varies from person to person. But the basic idea doesn't change much, is that we've got all this craving and attachment that we're used to following and holding on to and identifying with and love very much, even though it makes us suffer. And we've got to find ways to not follow it, not follow craving, not follow attachment. Just like water, you've got to find a way to go against the flow. You know, like if you've ever walked upstream of a river or fast-flowing stream, or in the sea when there's a current, you know, it's hard work, isn't it? Going upstream, going against the flow. That's one of the first things we run into, is that it's hard work going against the stream of your mind, the flow of kilesa, unwholesome states. So we get tired of going against the flow and we give up, or at least call for time out. And of course what happens is the kilesas return straight away. It's very disappointing. You meditate and put a lot of effort in for 10 minutes, really going to be very mindful and get enlightened this very day. And already 10 minutes later, give up. Just sit there falling asleep or daydreaming or indulging. That's why we use these terms that we just chanted, you know. Atapi, sampajano, satima. The Buddha uses terms like, you know, constant effort, zeal, enthusiastic effort. Sometimes they use the word heroic effort. You know, to go against the stream, in the end, is the most heroic kind of effort a human being can make, to free themselves from the enslavement to the mental defilements. Because that's what the Buddha did, that's what any Arahant has done. But it's inside, so you don't get a praise, you don't get a certificate or a medal for that kind of heroic effort, and quite often nobody even knows about it. You just have to trust that it's helping you go in the right direction to purify your mind. It's your own wisdom that gives you a medal or certificate that says, this is working, this is right. I mean, anyone can tell you that they've gone against the stream of their defilements, they've abandoned their greed, their anger, but you don't really know, because that's just their words. They could be tricking you, or they could be deluded, or it may be true, but you just don't really know. But you can know yourself. And that's another part of the problem in the beginning. You have to have a real confidence and wish to abandon defilements, because again, defilements will often have their excuses, and some of them will say, I should be here in your mind, it's natural, or it's a correct thing. You know, maybe sometimes, you know, even Buddhists have this one, it's easier to go out and help other people than to help yourself, because you're helping other people maybe with a defiled mind, so you're actually passing on defiled behavior and wrong views to other people, making things worse again. And then eventually it catches up with you. If your sila isn't solid and your understanding isn't solid and your effort isn't correct, maybe you go out thinking you're doing something very good, but you make a mess of it, or end up very disappointed at the least. So you also have to have a real sense of the value of purifying your own mind. And of course, many people in the world say that's just selfish. You're only interested in yourself, your own liberation, your own freedom from suffering. And that can become a sort of view, that can be an obstacle, but you have to see it's actually valuable for an individual, a human being, to free their mind from greed, anger and delusion, however much they can do that. That's actually good for other people as well. It's just not immediately obvious, because it's going on internally. The Dhamma is pachatang, meditable vinyuhi, individually known by the wise for themselves. But it will lead to good things on the outside and with other people in the world around as well. It just maybe it takes a bit of time to see that. So our own doubts are a big problem. That's why Sotapanna, such a big step to give up doubt. They understand it is actually worthwhile purifying the mind from greed, anger and delusion, letting those unwholesome dhammas go. Until that point, there's still doubt, there's still uncertainty. Should I be meditating, or should I be out there helping people or doing something, or starting a family, earning money? If I earn a lot of money, then I could go and help a lot of people, maybe. But you have to really have faith in the enlightenment of the Buddha, and then your own capacity for enlightenment as well, and to see that as a really worthwhile project. Because that will affect how you meditate, isn't it? If you really believe it's worthwhile, you'll try harder, you'll be willing to keep going against the stream, the flow of your mind. And you won't just give up, fall into the excuses or the doubts or the wrong thinking. So you meet those monks, nuns, and occasionally lay people who have trained their mind, and they've learned to go against the stream of kilesa. And they do have an aura of confidence and an aura of peace, contentment, happiness around them, because they've learned the importance of going against the stream of defilement. They don't doubt it. Whether they're fully awakened or not, at least they've learned how to get into the stream of the Dhamma rather than the stream of defilement. And they tend to be more peaceful and respond to the world in a peaceful, wholesome way rather than from defilement. So you get a lot of strength from confidence in the Buddha, and then coming back to the Sangha, the Sāvakas, teachers, who've been good examples and given us good teachings, and then back to yourself and say, well, this is something I can do, but I have to really bring up that effort, that enthusiasm and that effort. It's one of the differences, say, between lay life and monastic life. Is, lay life, it tends to be you put effort into the practice in spurts, don't you? You have your burst of retreat time, or really enthusiastic, meditate for a while every day, discipline, precepts, dana, listening to Dhamma, meditate, and then suddenly, somehow, you realise, oh, it's all fallen away and disappeared, and back to old habits of more just sort of sensual indulgence and distraction, and maybe even doing harmful things that cause you pain and suffering. So we have to find ways to keep up that continuous effort. So if you are a lay person, well, maybe coming to the monastery is one good strategy. Get reminders, see other people practicing, come to a quiet place, practice some renunciation, really focus more on the the meditation and the development of mindfulness, reflecting on the Dhamma, developing insight. If you're a monastic already, you still have to work out how to summon up effort over and over again. Ajahn Chah used to say, so it's one thing to make your mind peaceful, to put that effort into a period of meditation, sitting, walking meditation. But it's another thing to keep the effort going after you finish the meditation. We have to get out of that way of looking at things, even meditation, as a kind of a job. I'll do the job, finish the job, and then I'll go and have my fun time or my rest. And of course the kilesas just come crowding back into the mind, go off, talk, enjoy, indulge, sleep, whatever it is you like to do. And it's like, oh, all that meditation is just pushed to the back, and maybe it still had some good effect on you, but it's not a continuous thing. So of course defilements can become very stubbornly ingrained in your mind because they get used to, you do your meditation and you say, I know in an hour's time we'll finish and I'll go off and do what I really like and what I really enjoy. And so you're just waiting for that. So it's like doing a job of work. You go to do a job of work you might not particularly like, but you know you'll get paid at the end of the week. Okay, so I'll do it. And then you've got a bit of me time, free time at the end of the day or weekend. So you'll put up with the mundane or boring nature of the work because you get the money and then you get your free time. And we'd bring that attitude to meditation as well. I've done my meditation for the day, and now I'm going to do other things. But actually you can be just going backwards. So those who have become awakened, they've learned not to do that. They've learned how to keep the effort, the awareness going. Even in you learn it in one meditation session. You do learn that if you realize that's what you're trying to do. You're just learning to be mindful of your object over and over again, however frustrating, tiring, boring it is. You just keep doing it. Genuinely bringing up mindfulness directed to the breath, or reciting Buddha, or any other contemplation or meditation. The key is being mindful. Not just telling yourself to be mindful or thinking you're mindful, but actually being mindful. As soon as you're mindful of an object over and over again, your mind changes. Just as the Buddha described, you have applied and sustained thought on an object, such as the breath, meaning you're paying attention to the breath, you're knowing it from moment to moment to moment to moment. You get physical and mental changes that you can be aware of and know are taking place. You're not deluded and you're not brainwashed and you're not hypnotized. You know what's going on because you're mindful. That's the whole point. You're not just thinking about meditation, you're actually doing the meditation. And then your mind, your body changes in that moment, and you can see certain things and learn things from that. Not just describing or talking about it, but you're actually observing for yourself. Oh, the body, physically you calm down and relax when you're more mindful continuously. When mindfulness is really continuous, we call that samadhi. Samadhi brings you a feeling of calm. You feel good, you feel calm. How deep, how long-lasting it is depends, but you'll notice that change physically. Your body feels light, relaxed, in stages or ever-deepening depths. And then your mind, of course, becomes relaxed. Thoughts may arise at first, but they bother you less and less and less. Sounds, feelings, memories bother you less and less and less. Your consciousness changes. It's still consciousness, and it's still not you, but the activities, the way it is, the way the consciousness is experienced, what's going on changes. And you can know that. And hopefully you probably will say, oh, this is good. This is better than my normal state of consciousness, which is all over the place and full of emotions and not very happy. So even if it's temporary, you get some very good insight already. Body and mind calm down. Sense of well-being comes up. You can say, this is good. And then part of the practice is just keep doing it. And you learn. Physically you learn, as you become more still, more quiet, more mindful of the breath, you might notice all kinds of little tensions in your body that you need to adjust, relax here, relax there. Sometimes we're trying too hard, so effort that's actually making you feel unhappy again, or tense, or irritated, so sometimes you need to adjust your effort, try a bit less, or change the attitude behind the effort, just relax a bit. Try to be with the breath as much as you can, and with the attitudes, the ideas, the thoughts, as little as possible, identifying with them less and less. So it's just breath. Air element. And the air element is not a person, so you're seeing that more clearly. But you're still noticing in this body, this set of 4 elements that you've got here, there may be various tensions, pains, unpleasant feelings that are perhaps there all the time, or certainly while you're sitting, they may be there throughout the sit, but you can actually adjust and then feel more comfortable as you go. And that helps the mind to adjust and settle down. Mind is mostly dealing with thoughts and memories and emotional reactions to things, but you're also quietening them down by focusing on the breath, knowing the breath, breathing in, breathing out. And the idea is you know every breath in, every breath out. So not following the trains of thought, not lost in daydreams, not falling asleep, not dull. Dullness is a subtle obstacle, because often because you are still physically and mentally, you just kind of drift into dullness, half aware, but not fully aware, not able to really observe and develop wisdom or insight. So there's plenty to do. When people say they're bored in meditation, I tend to think they probably haven't tried very hard. Because actually, if you're meditating correctly, following the Buddha, it's not boring, there's a lot to do. It's just ever more subtle things to do. It's not literally moving around or even thinking a lot. Maybe a little bit of thought is involved. But it's also just observing and noticing craving and attachment arising in different ways, and teaching yourself to let go. And the more you let go, the more you see, craving can be let go of. You can go against the flow of craving. You can ignore it. You can not give it any importance or value in your mind. Just say, this is not important, let it go. At first you might say that, but after a while you just do it. It's just a mental action of letting go. And you also get the understanding that craving can be let go of, so it gives you more confidence. And craving becomes less frightening, less annoying, less powerful, less intense. Because you've let it go, gradually you're understanding better what you have to do to let go. Even if you can't fully let go yet, at least you know what you have to do. And then craving in all its different forms becomes less important, so you follow it less. So you're going against the stream more, and with the stream of craving less. I guess it is a bit like swimming. If you swim in the sea, the ocean, those currents can be pretty challenging. But if you swim every day and you get good at it, then you gradually you know what you have to do, how to swim. Or if you're swimming in a stream, you know, how to swim from one side to the other, you learn, or you can't just swim in a straight line. You'll get pushed down by the current of the water as you head upstream, and then it'll get you to the point you want on the other side of the bank. You learn. You learn from meditation, observing, understanding what is craving, what is attachment, what feeds craving and attachment, and then what helps you to abandon craving and attachment. You might call that the skill of one following this Noble Eightfold Path until one day there's no more craving, we assume, following the Buddha. The Buddha said it's possible you can completely uproot and abandon all craving. So I'll leave you with those reflections tonight.